Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm connecting to YouTube. I'll be right back in a sec. It's taking a little longer than normal. All right. Okay, perfect. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, today we are going to be talking about the pay plan, and then or at the end I'm going to talk about the potential of the pay plan. Also during the presentation, I'm going to be open to questions after I finish every part of the pay plan. Also, this is recorded on YouTube and the YouTube channel later. I'm going to be adding the link on the right side. Okay, and that means that, by the way, this is live on YouTube right now. Although I think everybody's okay in Zoom, but something to make sure is that I have it on YouTube because sometimes people have a easier time connecting to YouTube, especially if they are in a device that they're easier to connect through YouTube than getting into a Zoom. But we are connecting at the same time. There's a delay of about 10 seconds in between YouTube and what we are doing here. Okay, but we are live. I know an AI. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, sharing. Okay, let me take this down because, all right. Okay, can you see the screen? And can you hear me both?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, perfect, perfect. Okay. Um, well, this is one of my favorite parts, but actually, since I was a kid, I've been a nerd with numbers. Since I learned how to add 1 + 1 = 2, I always played with numbers. As a matter of fact, one of the things many kids, especially middle school and high school, some of them were starting to play with crosswords and things like that. I was playing with math books. I love mathematics, I love numbers, but mostly to calculate stuff, different stuff. Or at the time, I was collecting, for example, I was collecting baseball cards like many kids. I was collecting comics, books, and everything. I have it very well organized into numbers, into groups, etc. Definitely, I was a super nerd since I was a little kid. Even though at the same time, I was playing sports because I was very involved in sports, mostly baseball, volleyball, and track and field. But and now I was hyper. I guess if for today's standards, I was a hyperactive kid. I was kind of ADD and many things. But at the time, nobody talks about ADD. ADD is a modern illness that didn't exist before. Not that didn't exist before, it was not diagnosed before. But anyway, but I was so much into numbers. That never stopped. Even I finished high school, I went into college. I was going to go first for law, actually. I wanted to be an attorney. Uh, but then I changed to business and computers. Yes, computer systems or computer science, because I like numbers. That's the way I wanted to. I thought I was going to work in the computer business and computer world, and I never did it. As soon as I went to my first interview in a big company that all of you have heard, it's an IBM, and I saw people dressed the same way, etc. I thought this is boring, and I went into sales, into real estate. Nothing to do with I went to college, and that's of course my mom almost killed me. Because after going through college, you say, okay, they thought I was going to be in the computer world or in insurance world because my dad started an insurance company, but also working probably in the computers and because I had the business training too. But I never did that. I went into real estate. I liked the number. I liked the freedom at the time because I was working for myself. And I think I was one of the first ones that was working from home. I had two lines, telephone lines coming into my home. And then I had one more, another one, but everything from my home. But anyway, but years later, when I came to the U.S., I was hired by I was working with an investment company as an independent contractor, and then the small bit where the company was that was in the U.S. And I was in charge of the international, most of the international customers that were coming mostly from South America, but also from Asia and from Europe. But then one day the company disappeared, and after it disappeared, I didn't know what I was going to do. If what I did, I started doing all kind of stuff, and it's when I got into real estate again, and I became not only I was as buying a broker, but at the same time became investor. But the marketing crashed one time, and that's when I found this business, and I love it because I saw numbers, and the number for me start singing when I see, oh, because they have video that was called the head, and we're talking, if you bring five people and they bring five is 25, and those five is 25, 125, and then 625, and this was 3,135, and then 15,000, and then 55,000, and they, I mean 45,000. They were talking all those numbers and say, "Hey, only 10% stay, and they're already 100 points a month, you become a millionaire." And I was, wow. Now I have to say, before, when I was 19, that was the first time that I was exposed. I was exposed to network marketing, and I will in another video we'll talk about that, because that's a whole training. It was a very interesting experience when I was 19, but at the time I was in college in computer school. But anyway, let me start here, because this is what impressed me about the pay plan. I've seen every pay plan in the company, in the network marketing industry. I started with the toughest pay plan that some of you are familiar with. That is the breakaway plan. Is some people call it unilevel, but really it's a breakaway plan. And companies like Mary Kay, New Skin, Amway, Herbalife, etc. use that kind of pay plan, and that's the one with where I started. That kind of pay plan. It was a tough pay plan, but I didn't know anything else. I thought it was amazing because the numbers. Uh, 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 Something happened in that company. That company, it didn't go out of business. What happened is that the on TV they start talking that was a scam, and on the news, etc. And of course I couldn't build. I was starting that company, I couldn't build, and I went to another one where I the plan was a unilevel, was no like similar to the breakaway, but that was the first pay plan where I learned how to build the business. I knew the numbers, but almost the first year, I was not doing much. But then one day I understood how to do the business, and the simplicity, because I thought you had to know everything about the product at the time, and that company had like 20 products, and I thought I had to learn about everything about amino acids, etc., because that was the basic of those products, the free form amino acids. And then when I learned that, nope, I was talking too much about the products. And then when I started talking about numbers, potential, my business exploded. And in 9 months from that point on, I went to 8,000 people in my team. I got into six figure, and then the company got in trouble. I left before they actually filed for bankruptcy, and went into another company. I was there for several years, and I did very well. And then before the project, before here, I have an organization. They have over close to 1 million people in my team, selling hundreds of millions of dollars, and we earn very good money there. And it's because I understood the numbers. You don't have to understand a pay plan to be successful. You have to understand the numbers, the basic, the simplicity. And that's something that's different. Understanding the numbers and understanding the pay plan are totally different things. Because when you understand numbers, you can be successful on any pay plan. It's just that some pay plans are more complex, some pay plans are simpler. And we have the blessing that we have a very simple pay plan here. But like I said, when you understand numbers, you can use it for any kind of business, and you can be super successful because numbers never lie. And I'm going to go through the pay plan today and talk a little about the numbers to show why you can be very successful in this business. Anybody, when you are consistent doing certain things, success is going to happen, but success depends on you. I love to put this slide because many people that have been in our industry, or in our business and network marketing, they say, I was in the company, and they told me I was going to make a lot of money, and I never made money. But the reality is that we had the promise of the potential, but not that you for sure are going to do it because depend on yourself, depend on you're applying yourself and going into action. Obviously, certain basic skills. You don't have to be full of skills like going to graduated in computers or business or anything like that, or even something as simple as going to the real estate business. You don't have to have so many skills. You just have to understand numbers and the basics and the benefit of the products. Anyway, and that's why at the end say examples are for education. And we have examples here about the numbers, but they are for your education to see the potential of what is going to happen. Now, I developed this years ago in the company where I had of close to 1 million people, and I was using it applying for that company. Actually, I had something similar in the company before that somebody developed, and I since then I've been adapting it to the pay plans that we have been before. But one of the cool things that our pay plan is so simple that was so easy to do this. I created this when we started here in three when it started, and I updated like probably like 4 months ago. But we are going to go through this part of the pay plan. And by the way, this form is on the recording that we have from this morning. There's going to be a link for this form. Okay, the retail program is really simple, really cool. You sell and you get paid next day. You are going to see more promotions. Right now, we had the promotion for the event in Las Vegas. Yeah, already was closed. Now you could have the VIP if you had X amount of 10 people, 10 customers, etc. But you're going to see more promotions based on the retail program. But the retail program is very simple. And it's so simple that sometimes people think it's, oh, just a part of the pay plan. But it's very simple because it's 25% that you get paid the next day when somebody buys from your link. It's as simple as that. Now, the order has to come before 3 o'clock Mountain Time. And it's the next day, when Monday through Friday. Doesn't this is when the banks are open. For example, if Monday would be closed, the banks are closed, then you don't get paid on Monday. But besides that, every day. And this is ideal for influencers, people that love to sell, service offices, health professionals. And when they say service offices, like a massage, fitness professionals, etc. And many people like this because, again, it's very simple. That person wants to buy, you open an account for them, they buy, and then you get paid the following day. As simple as that. And the person they have benefits that we are going to talking about in another slides when they refer people, etc. They cannot make money when the people that buy retail because is they are not on the system as people as a brand ambassadors. But they receive some benefits that we are going to see later in a second. The next one is the PAB. It's very simple. Is every time somebody buy any of the packages that we have or different products in the first order, then they get a PIB. And the minimum is 25 points. The 25 points because the minimum order is 100 points. No? And you get $25 minimum. And this paid that week. Excuse me, a week later. When I say a week later, and this is important to remember, and for those of you that are new, the week closed Monday at midnight mountain time. Every order that ended, it comes all the way to midnight, Monday night, mountain time. Then you get paid the following Friday. It really is less than a week. This is not paid daily like the retail. The retail is the only one that gets paid daily. This get paid once a week and goes from $25 and up. And the up depends on how much product the person buy when they join. Packages you can get up to 300 and something dollars per package, but if you can combine packages or you can or people buy a bunch of products at the beginning and you are going to get a PIB. The rule of thumb is 25% of the PV of the volume, excuse me. All right, team commission, and after this part I'm going to stop. This is one of the cooler things. I was not familiar with this part when I got into network marketing because this kind of pay plan didn't exist. When I started, like I say, I was in the traditional pay plan. But when I discovered this pay plan in the project that was before, what is called Cycles, it took me, by the way, close to a year to join that company. At the beginning, it's because I didn't get the idea of cycle. I never heard that before. And I didn't try to go into detail because I was okay with the company that was before I joined that one. But when things start happening, I got open. And when I understood the cycle, I said, whoa, this is brilliant. And the reason it's brilliant is because you don't have levels. Levels means is when you have people that you sponsor your first level, that the one that they sponsor is your second level, the one that the second level sponsor your third level. And most companies are limited to a certain amount of levels. After that, you don't get paid. And the reason I thought it was brilliant because in the company that before where I was in the uni-level plans, most of my volume was below my pay level because leaders were coming below and below, and suddenly I have a super leader coming, for example, on the sixth level. That was the case. A super leader that came in Florida and exploded the business, and I was not getting most of the volume or commissions. Probably I was just getting around 10% of that volume to get paid on commissions. The rest was missing because there were levels. Here you get paid unlimited levels. There are no levels. The computer look for just the volume. And when you have 300 points in one side and 600 in the other one, or the other way around, 600 and 300, is what is called a cycle. And then every time you have 300, 600, or 600, 300, $35 is paid to you. Now, whatever is left, because let's suppose in 1 week it started 400 on one side and 600 in the other one, you get paid 300 and 600. There's left 100 points are waiting for you for the next cycle that could happen the same way, the same week, excuse me, the same day, or can stay there and never ever disappear as long as you are active. What is it active to? It means every 4 weeks you're ordering 60 points in products. That's around $110, $120, depending on the products. And you never lose the volume that you are not getting paid on. That's another thing that I thought was brilliant because in the companies before with the unilevel programs, at the end of the month, you were running because you wanted to get paid on all the volume. And you have to be running to make sure that you have the qualifications that many times depend on how many executives you have to have, or how many directs you have to have, or how many managers you had to have, depending on the pay plan, and how much volume you had to have in different legs, because at the end of the month, everything was going to zero. And when you didn't qualify for, you didn't get paid. Here, the volume never is lost. That means that let's suppose that somebody come about aboard and start just buying the products, and they sponsor one person, and that person start building the business, and you have thousands of points. The person doesn't have the other leg because you need two legs to get paid, 300, 600, or 600, 300. But one of them exploded. As long as that person is active, that volume keep accumulating, waiting for you to start building the other side. Never disappear. And this is one of the beauties of this part of the pay plan. It's actually, is for me, is amazing because it waits for you to start getting paid on the volume that's accumulated. The other thing that's cool, you never lose anybody. There are some pay plans, like the first one that I was in, that if somebody became executive before you, they gave you what is called a grace period of 60 days. But if you didn't become executive in 60 days, you lost that person forever. Or even if you got that person, the person moved away and you start getting a much smaller commission. Here, that never happened. You never lose anybody. The commission doesn't matter if the person become a 7-star under you, that person still is under you and the volume counts for you. Now, the happy 10 is very important for something else that we are going to talk in a second. But this is an amazing part of the pay plan. It's very simple, by the way. Remember, you bring two, one on the left, one on the right, and when you have 300, 600, or 600, 300, you get a cycle. Anything that's left over, stay there. It's like creating a bank. It's very, very simple. And here is an example of potential. If you look at the volumes, and let's suppose to, and by the way, the power of two, it doesn't mean that you just bring two people and that's it. You're retired. No, this is when you find people that are going to be doing the same thing that you're doing. But look at how simple. They bring two, and they bring two that do the same thing. It's two is four, and by the month number 12, 4,000 over 4,000 people are coming in. You have in total over 8,190 people. You will be making, gee, over half a million, around $500,000 a year, just by having this. And you just came with, you just have two people that sign up in this example. Of the 8,190, only two that are doing the same thing. Now, that doesn't mean that you are going to sponsor two and everything happen. No, this is when you find those two that are going to be the same thing and they're consistent. And look at the volumes. 200 points at the beginning. Let's suppose that the first month you had 200 points. The second month you had 400 points. And actually it's more than that. Because here we're assuming no, just that everybody is bringing two and that's it. That in reality could be much bigger than that. Of course, this is the power of the numbers. That's over 8,190 people, and that's over 800,000 points. Can you imagine that? That's a lot of money, a lot of money, and that's the cool thing about this part. And there are no blockages. Doesn't matter how deep the people are coming. Okay, all right. I'm going to be open to questions here because this is the first part that sometimes people, many times, they have questions. Oh wow, yeah, Carmen's Herbalife is a very similar pay plan, by the way, to Mary Kay. So if you know Mary Kay, the structure is a little different, but the way to qualify and to go deeper into your downline is very, very similar to Mary Kay. It's a network marketing. It's a direct sales. It's a multi-level, and it's a breakaway system. It's, by the way, the rule of thumb: most companies that are 25 years and older are similar pay plans. When you talk about older companies that are more than 25 or 30 years, most of them are breakaway. There are a few exceptions. But you tell me any older company like Amway, like Herbalife, like New Skin, like that, what's the name? It's only escaped by her, Shackley, etc. All those Natural Sunshine, etc. Those companies that are older are breakaways. All of them are really similar. In other words, and Cameron, you were in Mary Kay. By knowing Mary Kay, if you, for example, start going into the pay plan, you are going to realize that there are very big similarities between Herbalife and Mary Kay. It's not exactly the same because numbers qualifications are different, but the structure is the same thing. Any questions? Yeah, you can ask any question, and I'm glad. Thank you, Carmen, for that question. Let me see if I see another one. No, that's it. All right. If you don't have any question about the cycles, let me jump to the next part. That is super excited because I didn't have that one in the pay plan before we got to around $1 million in a year in income. And we didn't have that part that I'm going to show you. That's very interesting. I haven't that about probably 40 people that got over $1 million on that pay plan without having the part I'm going to show you. All right, hold on a second. Let me share again. Share again. All right. Oh, before, let me go into the rewards loyalty. I was saying that I was going to say that when you are in the smart ship, and we are going to talk about that in a second, for at least 6 months in a row, every 6 months you get an $100 reward certificate that is used. You can use it to buy products. Simple. Now, customers, and these are the people that are buying retail, every time they buy $300 in products, they get $33 reward certificate that they can use for the next orders. And referrals from customers, these are from customers, not from the brand ambassadors. Every time they refer somebody that order a product, by the way, regardless of how much they order, they get $10 that also they can use to buy products. Very simple. These are the loyalty reward certificate. Okay, let me go to the next one. All right. Now, like I said, people cycle. Now, this is the cool thing. When you teach people how to cycle and your person start cycling, you start getting up to 30% of that cycle. Let's suppose that you have Bob, and Bob cycle, and you get, he gets $35. Then you get a matching bonus up to 30%. And by the way, it's 20% and jump to 30% when you have 10 people that you personally sponsor. That could be a combination of the customers or brand ambassador. But anyway, you get up to 30%, in this case, $10.50 every time they cycle. Let's suppose the Sue cycle is also $10.50. You see, that's cool because that means that if Bob is cycling 10 times that, you get 10 times that also. You get $100 basically every time Bob cycle. A cycle 10 times that. Let's suppose the cycle 10 times and suit also 10 times or 100 times. Multiply that $10.50 times 100 and you get paid every week. The same thing. Remember, the week closes on Monday night and you get paid. That's so cool. And the cool thing that doesn't stop with Bob and Sue. You can get up to 7 levels on percent on cycles. That means that L1 or level 1 are the people that you personally sponsor, and you get up to 30% with the 10 people. That's 20%, but 30% when you have 10 people is why happy called the happy 10. Then 15% the people that they bring. In other words, let's suppose that you have somebody in that level that make $1,000 in cycles, just to round it up. You get 15% of that, 150, pay weekly. When they bring people that they are cycling, the same thing. You get 10% on their cycles, all the way to 7 levels, 5%. This is where, in the long term, most of the money is going to make. Especially, just imagine, you sponsor one person, only one person. Let me see if I have it. Oh, no, I don't have it here. One person that become a superstar. Just one. The other side is not going too well. You are doing, let's suppose that you're cycling, I don't know, 10 times a month, and you're making about $350. You're okay. But one of the person that you sponsor, one leg exploded and make $1 million a year in cycles. You get up to 30%. Let's suppose 30% of that every year. You get paid weekly, but total year, 30% of that, you are earning $300,000 a year. Just one person. This is amazing. And this is the part when I saw it on this Payplan, I fell in love with it because something like that was suggesting in the company I was before. A reward, in other words, a reward. You're getting a reward for helping people to make money. When you bring people that are making money, you get reward on that. You're not only getting reward on the volumes, getting commission, the traditional commissions. In this case, we call it the cycle commission, but you are getting reward also in what they are earning. And this is very powerful. And let me stop here because this is a part that when people understand this, they get super excited. And remember what I told you, in other companies, when somebody get a higher rank, they pass you. Here, the person never passed you. And on top of that, they're giving you a matching bonus, even if the person is way higher ranked than you are, because they are getting you a matching bonus on what they are earning. Anybody has a question about this part of the pay plan? I think this part is probably, well, it's the one that excited me the most the first time that I saw it, like I said. And this is interesting again. You are getting paid every time people that you get is getting paid or is getting a profit. It's like if we have like a mini franchise, or we have we have franchise of any business. It could be franchises of fast food or franchise in real estate or insurance, etc. That we are getting money on the profits also, not just on the sales, but a percent of the profits of the people that they are making money under us. And the cool thing, different from, for example, other businesses where they take that money from the profit, we are getting is a matching bonus. A matching bonus again, they make 1,000, we get a 30% matching, we get $300 commission. We don't take those $300 from that like happening in franchises. They take up the profit from there and pay it to you. But this is amazing. If you play with the numbers, you're going to see how cool and powerful it is. And this is the most powerful part of the plan. The cool thing that I like that the way that we're getting paid start going up. First, the sales is the fastest way to get money because we don't have anybody when we sell somebody or when we sponsor somebody. That's the second fastest way to get paid. But then when we start getting a team, we start getting the cycles cool. And then with our team start cycling, our personals and the people that they are bringing, we start getting machine on their cycles too, on what they are making. I mean, as you see, it's a progression, the way that this plan is growing. And when we go all the way to the machine, that's the biggest part because that's where you can earn incredible amounts of money. Now, you can make it in the original plan because you can make up on the cycles 20 over $1 million a year. But I am talking here about numbers that we sometimes don't even dream about because when you have people that are earning huge amounts of money, you get mashing on them, and there is no limit of 21,000 a week like we have in the cycles. That, by the way, is over $1 million a year. But there are no limits here, and the potential is amazing. There already have people in the company that have earned over $50,000 in a week. And remember, we said the limits on cycles maximum you can make 21,000. That means that the other 29,000 are coming from machine bonus mostly. This part of the pay plan is amazing. Help people to make money, and you are making even more money. That is powerful. Okay, let me go to the share screen again. All right. Okay, we have the global leadership bonus. Global leadership bonus is when we get to the rank of four star or about. The company takes 3% of the sales that they have during that month or that week, and they divide among the people that qualify. Now, when you qualify, then you have amount shares, and I'm not going to go specific how the shares work, but the more volume your personal team has, for example, you sponsor people and they sponsor people and they sponsor people, that is your personal volume. For every 1,000 points, you get a share. For every person that you personally sponsor that goes up in rank, you get a share. Every time you go rank, you get a share. And the more shares you get, the more money you make. And because we are not an older company, still you don't see huge amounts of money unless you are getting already into the 6 star, 5 or 6 stars. That this bonus could be around 100,000 a year. It's get paid weekly around. The most, I think, the most that people have earned on this one is around 2,000 to 3,000 a week in the 3% bonus. But it's not where you make the most money because when you're at a 4 rank, you're making more money in your regular commissions. But that's an extra money, and that's really cool. And it's like profit sharing on the total sales of the company. I love that. And then, of course, we have trips, and they're going to be announcing other trips very soon. Okay, let's repeat it, this. And we have many other promotions and incentives that we have every month. We have new promotions, new advancements. For example, when we had the promotion $1 just to join, things like that. Now, very important, all this that we are talking about works for real when we have people in a smart ship. Smart ship is something that it's going to keep your business together. It's very important for many reasons, and we are going to go through the benefits. But first of all, we had to create a habit of using the product. Now, we heard that when you use a product for 20, or you do something for 21 days, for consecutive days, you create a habit. It's not 100% true. You start doing it consistently, but in reality, to create not only a habit, but something that's like more than a habit, it's when it becomes so deep that really is a habit, you need at least 90 days. And everything, exercise, consuming something, etc. Plus, on the results of the product, 90 days is when you start seeing bigger results, except I don't say many people see results much quicker than that, but what I mean, the results are so strong that if you stop using the product, you start noticing the difference. Okay, and that's why it's so important that people are using the products every month. And to make sure that that's happening, we have to make sure that they're in smart ship because it's easy to forget, and we are going to go into numbers in a second. Now, also, you never lose volume because if you forget to order and you have volume under you, and if you don't order, that volume can disappear. And all the volume that you have accumulated, could be only a month or could be long time, goes to zero and has to start again. You want to make sure that you are a smart ship and a smart ship. And these are the numbers. And these are the numbers across the industry, not only three. When people are in a smart ship, you get up to 90% retention. Another process until 90% of the people place an order the following month. This is just the following month. When you don't have people in order a smart ship, only between 10 to 40%, the higher case, place an order the following month. Most people forget. In other words, it's up to 9 times higher the reorder rate when you have people in a smart ship. In other words, it's the difference between having between 70 to 90 orders or 10 to 40 orders every month. And these are the numbers. And some of you probably have experienced that, or you forgot to order, or some people in your team forgot to order. The importance to people in smart ship is very, very powerful. Now, some people are smart to ask for the smart ship. You have to do it as a matter of fact when you are signing up somebody. You ask the person, okay, or you recommend, because most people don't know. You say, okay, I recommend you have at least, for example, the Eternel or the Vitalite and the whatever products that you feel that the person is going to need the Vitality and Revive together every month. By the way, you can call the day before and you can change this smart ship, or you can even cancel if you want. But you don't want to cancel because you want to make sure that you are using the product. As simple as that. Or if the person bought a big package, he said you can have in a smart ship products that you didn't try yet, because, for example, in the package, let's suppose the skincare is not there, you can add it for the smart ship, or you can add the kinetics and the GLP-3 that is not in the big packages, unless the person has in the smart ship one of those GLP-3 packages. But the point is that this smart ship is so important because all those numbers that we talk about, they are not going to work if people are not ordering every month. And the smart ship is so important. And that's why many companies, even Amazon, they give you a percent discount. When you buy a product, they tell you if you buy this product every month, you're going to get X discount. Or they give you some kind of incentive. Smart ship is the glue that keeps your business together because it's creating that residual income that we talk about. We don't have a smart ship, and then we are going to just rely on the memory of people. And then the majority, according to the statistics, the majority of people are going to forget. And when somebody forgets and they don't have still the habit, and they still are not making money, etc., then sometimes it's hard for them to reorder again. And that's very, very important. Smart ship is the secret of residual income. There's no doubt in my mind, because when I'm looking at my numbers, I love to see how many people are in a smart ship coming this month, for example, or this week. Financial freedom happened to that. That's when you start getting the residual income that give you more times, that then you can reach all your goals that you want. You can travel around the world, be more with the family, etc., etc., etc. That's the advantage of smart ship. I'm going to stop here before I go into the next part. Any questions?
I
So
have a
far I've
quick
been talking.
question.
Go ahead.
Could you show us all how to find the amount of smart ships that we have, like in the back office, that one report?
Yeah, there is I'm going to go that after I do the presentation because I want to make sure,
Oh, okay,
but
thank
we are
you.
recording this part
Oh, sorry.
but anyway, but yes, yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, because you can find, especially if you don't have an organization, of course, you say, well, but there's a reason. And actually, I'm going to go into strategy after I finish this part of the presentation of how to make sure that each week, after a while, start getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And one of the secrets is using knowing how many smart ships are coming up. And let's suppose that the next week you say, "Oh, I have only two." Is the weakest week? You can start doing promotion for your team and yourself to try to get as many people next week, because the people that come next week, they're going to have a smart ship 4 weeks later. That's that week, and then that week is going to have instead two, may have 10. And that's a way to strengthen the smart ship. But I'm going to go into one part right now, and then I go into that part of the strategy. All right, I'll be right back. Let me share again. By the way, any questions so far about what we have covered? Okay. All right. Okay. Perfect. All right. Let me share. Now, how come you make five to $10,000 in the next 90 days? Of course, first start, just get the right package. Let's suppose that you're brand new or you're starting a new person. Of course, this is again a goal that you can do, and how is possible. I ain't gonna talk about numbers right now. And like I say, I love numbers. And it could be a combination of PIB, cycles, matching bonus, etc., etc., etc. The first way is make sure that the person starts with any of the packages. Here I have some examples just with the PIB package. I had to update the 4-pack, but in general, those are the packages. And then the cycles, and then the matching bonus, and of course, the duplication, because you want to help people to start getting income. And that's the way that you're going to create an income. And I'm going to talk about the strategy right now, but it's very simple. When you connect, and these are numbers, rule of thumb, and we had the form to do this, and you're going to see the form in a second, is you connect with 30 people. When you connect with 30 people, 15 are going to see the presentation, a video or something. Usually from 15 people, 1 in 5 is gonna join them, 1 in 3, excuse me, that's around 5. Now the numbers can be different for you because it depends on you, but could be better or could be lower. Now, those numbers, the more you do it, those numbers start changing. And the reason is because you are going to be better in connecting with the best quality people. But let's suppose that fire and roll. Now, here's the form. And this form, you can fix, if you are super, super part-time, then you can fill this form, for example, once a month. Although the idea, this form was created, and by the way, in America, they have something similar, and I based this in something called the bubble, that you have 30 bubbles, you write the name of 30 people that you're going to connect, and then the names of the people that actually see the presentation, that's 15 of them, and then the 5 people enroll. And if you do this weekly, holy cow, your success is going to be incredible, and it's going to be really fast. Okay, these are the numbers, and let me use this calculator. I created this calculator and love it. All right, let me explain what this means, okay? At the top, you see weeks, and I have everything in 2 weeks because I want to make sure it looks very doable, because you can do it. I did that. I got to, of course, I was coming with a nice group, etc. But I got to the $10,000 in a month. Probably, well, my first month was way more than that. But it's because I know what I'm doing. But let's suppose weeks 1 to 2 is weeks 1 and 2, weeks 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, and 13 weeks. That's around 90 days. When you multiply 13 times 7, it's 91 days, but I'm rounding up. The same on the weeks below, I have the same thing. 1 to 2 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, 5, etc., all the way to 13 weeks. Now, this is these blanks, this is what we are going to have in the blanks. Let's suppose that the first week you sponsor 3 people. Okay, let me close the format here because, okay, all right. Okay, let me put it again. Let's start with 3. Now, if everybody start duplicating, the second column is what they do. And let's suppose that the weeks 3 and 4, the first week and the second week, actually, let's put a bigger number because the first 2 weeks, you sponsor the 5 people. Weeks 3 and 4, they sponsor, when you're going to go here, let's see, each one 2 people. And then what happens if 5 sponsor 2 is 10, and the week 5 and 6, the 2 is 20, and the book 7 and 8 is 40, each one 2. You say, I know you calculated 5 each one. I just assume that's only two. You see, by the end of 13 weeks or 90 days, you have over 600 people. Now, what package you're getting in? Let's assume, and we are talking just about numbers right now of people signing up. Let's suppose that they're coming with a middle package. That would be this one. That's 300 points. Okay, 300 points. The CV here is 300 points. Okay, you see the package that have 599 is like 300 is because $599 and it's 300 points. Okay, I'm gonna put the points. Let's see, 300 points. And remember, you sponsor 5 people. Okay, when we multiply all the points that they are coming, you have a total of 635 people that in those 90 days, they are moving over 190,000 points. You make over $7,000. Now we are not counting the PAB. What is the PAB in this package? It's $100. I'm gonna write it here. Then you are more because now you're at $100. But I don't know why it didn't add it. For some reason, it's not adding it. Let's see why. Oh, it did. It did right now. Okay. Now, the 3 weeks 3 and 4, let's suppose that you lower and now your sponsoring is 3. But everybody the sponsor 2. You see the 3 sponsor 2 is 6, the 6 sponsor 2 is 12, the weeks after. This is the weeks 3 and 4. So only you go over $12,000 already here. And let's suppose that the next weeks are only 2 each week. And that's $16,000. And we are not counting the ownerships. We are not counting the matching bonus. We are not counting any of that. You see, numbers don't lie. But of course, this is finding the right people. And if we're talking only about products, that's not going to happen because they don't know that there is a business. They don't know that by recommending people, they can make money. But this is just to show you the potential of what can happen. And these numbers, I can change these numbers all the time. Let's change these numbers. Kimberly, you want to tell me a number just to play with it?
A number of how many people would be recruited?
You sponsor the first month, the first 2 weeks.
Oh, first 2 weeks. Let's just say 3.
Okay, 3. Okay. And the following 3 weeks? The following 2 weeks, excuse me, weeks 3 and 4, what number you will have?
With one person just doing this?
Yeah, how many people you personally sponsor, weeks 3 and 4? You're starting the business, you sponsor the first 2 weeks, you sponsor 3. Weeks 3 and 4, how many you, now it's week 3 and 4, how many people you sponsor those 2 weeks?
I think if people recruited, or if I ever like recruited 3 people in a week, it'd be good.
Yeah, and this would be in 2 weeks because weeks 5 and 6,
3
7 and
for
8,
each week. So
9, 10, and this is every 2 weeks. I know you put it.
Yeah.
Okay, lock the potential here, and again,
some are better than others.
Yeah, and this is not including the matching bonus, is not including the smart chips. That's the potential of that. I, as you see, I am totally a nerd because I created this with Excel, no, and put it into the presentation. Numbers don't lie. Numbers work. And that's the power of this business. Now, this keep accumulating also because at this point, you have over 1,000 people that are in the smart chip and I'm not counting them out. That's where big residual income is. Imagine if this happens in a year. We're talking about 90 days. Still, it's really cool because from that point on, you have over 1,000 people in the smart chip. And even Christmas and New Year's Eve, that week is kind of dead. It's almost 2 weeks that nobody's coming, or very few people are coming in the business, but you still have the smart chips. In the month of December, you have over 1,000 people that are ordering. You can be on vacation and you're getting paid. This is the beauty of the smart chip, by the way, and of course the numbers. Okay, let me stop sharing for a second. Any questions? Okay.
George,
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question on 3 star, but I don't know if you're going to go on to talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, at 3 star, I get stuck where I have 3 ambassadors that are stuck at 2 star. And
Correct.
I see that when the people that they sponsor get their 600 points, they're maxed out. They can't use, nothing that those teams order count anymore, correct?
Okay, it depends. And yeah, I'm gonna go into that in a second because I know what you're talking about. Uh, okay, and there is a part on the back office that you can find. Actually, I probably have to go into reports to showing.
I see, yeah, I see that already where they're maxed out. So when they're ready to go to 3 star, they're at 2 star now and ready to go, and it's already the right and the left legs are full. Then and they still short like maybe 1,500 points. Those have to be then now from personal.
No, they have different lines. They have personal lines. As a matter of fact, let me show that because I have a different slide for that. And I'm gonna get into that. Hold on just a second. But let me show it because I prefer to be show the graphic that to explain it because and that way the graphic can show it better. All right, hold on a second. I thought I had the slide open, but no, I don't. Okay, it's opening up. That's actually, I'm going to show that. I'm glad you asked that question because I open, it's just waiting. It's kind of slow. Okay, open. Okay, 1 star. All right, perfect. Okay, let me show you how to get the stars. And the star, by the way, when you're at 1 star, that means that you're getting volume on all your personals. You're getting the matching bonus. And when you're 2 star, you get the one that they sponsor, that they're dealt to, you're getting also the matching bonus. 3 star is when you had the three. And I'm going to show it to you right now. That would be the, okay. I'm going to start with 1 star. 1 star is when you get up to 30% on matching on your personals. Now, to qualify for a 1 star, you have to make sure that you have 800 points on 52 weeks. As you see, they give you tons of time. You can do it in 1 week. A maximum 200 points per leg, and I'm going to show you what that means. And let me show it to you. Let's suppose that you have 4 people, and it says the maximum that you can have is no more than $200 personally sponsored legs. Personal sponsor legs, here you see 4. You sponsor 4 people, each one, and you can have 10 people. 10 people, you have 10 personal sponsor legs. But all you have to have you have to have no more than 200 points per leg to qualify as a 1 star. In other words, leg include even the person under them. For example, in this example, I have 1 star, you have 200 points personal sponsor in your volume, but another person has only 100 points. But when they sponsor somebody, that volume counts. And as you see, that's the way that you complete the points. And doesn't have to be the personal people, but they had to be under your personal people, 4 legs. For a 3 star, let me go all the way to 3 star, and that way I can jump here. It's the same. You have no more than $600 per personal sponsor, as you see there. But there's one that, for example, came with 200 points. But any person that comes under them, that volume counts too. And you can have up to 600 points but per personal sponsor leg. Personal sponsor leg is anybody that you sponsor. And when you have at least 6 with minimum 600 points. You can have more than that, by the way. It can be spread out through 10, 15 people that you personally sponsor. But when you have that, then you are qualified. And I hope you can see the answer, Carmen, here. Carmen? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, I think you're
Yeah,
muted.
sorry, George. Yes, because I'm driving to Madison right now, and that's what I'm going to teach them how to get to the 3-star
Okay.
there.
And here,
So,
yeah,
okay,
this graphic can show it to you.
okay. And the thing is that, so when they have whatever they have of people right now, let's say they have 5 people and they're all maxed out at 600 points, right? Because no more than that counts towards the 3-star, correct?
Correct. You have to open a new leg then. Sponsor
Okay.
somebody new.
Okay, so then that new person that they sponsor,
No, that you
does that,
sponsor, not that who they sponsor. It has to be your
right,
person.
that they sponsor, okay, personally, they're L1?
Yeah,
So that,
they're L1. Yeah, every L1 could be up to 600 points, the whole leg. Because again, they can sponsor, they can have only 200 points, but if anybody comes under them that they personally sponsor can't also turn those 600 points.
okay, because that's where I was stuck, where I thought that there are the people that they have the legs that says they're complete already with their points, but they have to continue to bring in L1s, and still, even if their L1 just comes in with 200 points and
Yeah,
they
it
have
counts
team
for that
members,
leg.
it will count. It will.
Yeah, because that leg started with 200 points, but if that person under bring 200 points more, they bring somebody that brings 200 points and somebody 200 points, that then total to 600 points. Or could be just one person, could be somebody that they came with 200 points, but somebody came under them with 400, that complete the 600 too.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right
it's
then.
personal
Okay.
sponsor leg. It's why, by the way, it's good to go for the happy 10, because when you have 10 people, you have many of the volume that's spread out, but complete those 3,600 points that you need to be qualified. That, by the way, those 3,600 points had to happen in 52 weeks. They're giving you tons of time to do that. That's one of the things that they're very flexible on that. It's not like the other companies that if you don't accomplish in 1 month certain volume, that you are about out of luck. You have to do it again. Here they're giving you 52 weeks to do this. This is amazing. And that's one of the powerful things about this pipeline. Okay, I hope that clarified this. And if anybody has another question on this.
Yeah, George, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because that's one of the things that I love about the Payplan, that give a very simple how they call it, very simple idea. They give you very flexibility, in other words, to qualify. And this is mostly, the stars are very important for the matching bonus, because remember, 1 star or L1 is when you get up to 30% matching on what the people are making. L2 is the 3 people. L3 is the 3 levels, excuse me. L4 is the 4 levels. L5 is why the stars are important. It's mostly for that. Not for the cycles. You can make them be $21,000 a year, a week, and you can be only 1 star. For the cycle volume, you don't have to have a higher rank. This is for the matching bonus. And that's amazing, because a person could be 1 or 2 or 3 star and making $1 million a year without having to be 7 star or 6 star or 5 star or 6, a 4 or 3. As long as you have the volume, that's what is the powerful part of this pay plan. It's why I love the way that the pay plan, because it gives you so much flexibility when you are building your business. And that, in my opinion, is super powerful. Okay, let me share any question before I go to the next one. Oh yeah, Kimberly just put there 6 teams that they are at least 600 points. It's 3,600. And the cool thing, there's no 6 teams that they are keeping that volume every week, because they as soon as a team qualifies, you got 52 weeks of qualification for each team. It's not like you have to do it every week. Now you have to make sure that somebody doesn't come off qualification because they already the 52 weeks are done. But if a person is active and have people in SmartShip, you never have to worry about this pay plan. In my case, geez, we have personals, probably like 50 people in SmartShip, 50. We don't have even to think about this part of the pay plan because we have so many people active that are personal, that are in the SmartShip. It's why, again, the SmartShip is so very important. Okay, let me show, actually, let me stop the recording here.
George,
Go ahead.
one more question. For example, I have a gal right now, she's a 3-star, but it says you're getting paid as a 2-star. So what happens there?
Well, just going to the report and probably she's probably been more a year or longer in the company. It's why that one of the person or the chief sponsor, one of the legs went beyond the 600 point, below the 600 point. In other words, remember 6 legs, but one of the legs probably is not getting 600 points anymore because or somebody quit or she's not placing orders or somebody of the 6 people that she has. That's just what happened. And by the way, the same report where you say that people are 600 points, and the same report is going to tell you how much is each leg right now. And then you are going to notice, say, oh, shoot, there is one here that's 400 points or 300 points. Let's see what, oh, she needs another person or somebody is cancel the SmartShip or somebody cancel. Simple as that. And then the volume went below the 600 points.
Okay, thank you.
But again, if you have tons of people that you personal sponsor, and of the people that we have that personal sponsor, we have 15 that are 3-star and above. It's why we have never had to worry about that. And that's the thing. The secret is to always keep building your business and having new people because you never had to worry about that. The automatic, I mean, we have probably, who knows how much, probably 20,000 or 15,000 on personal volume, just on the personal L1s on volume, and we need 3,600 to be qualified. And we have probably almost 10 times that. That's why eventually the idea, you never stop sponsoring people because then you have it so secure that you don't have even to think about. And I know I don't have to think about it because we have so many people earning money that we personally sponsor. That's why I don't worry about that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all right. Let me go one more thing, what just Kimberly asked before. Okay, personal reports. Personal reports are here on this tab, as you see, Report Center. And now when you go all the way to down, I think it's down. Yeah, okay, you say my team reports. Okay, it show you, there are several reports there about the SmartShip. Let me see, what is that? Because a little, number second, row 3, sponsorship report, reward, my commission. I think this is it. Rank advancement. Oh, here, 4-week projected SmartShip. You see this one? Now, this is a report that doesn't have too many people because it's a small line. But here, we tell you, the people, this is as you see, it doesn't have, it is a one that is for sample. But for example, here is the week of the 7/28 to August the 3rd. It will tell you how many SmartShips are coming, the projected volume, and this is the process. If you happen to be already in the week, it tell you how much was processed. But this is that tell you how many SmartShips. For example, let's suppose the week of the August 4th through the 10th, and you want to know how many SmartShips are coming, and then it's going to tell you here. Then let's suppose that tell you 0 SmartShip like now. Say, okay, I want to create, and then you can set up your goal. How many people are you going to prospect that week to sponsor people that week? Because 4 weeks from now, that week is going to have a smart chip because anybody that you sponsor that week, 4 weeks later, they have the smart chip. And that's the way that you can get stronger each week, each smart chip. But it's again the 4 week projected smart chip report. Again, the way to go, you go to business here, you click on report center, and then report center give you this list, and then you go to the 4 week projected smart chip. Okay. Yeah, this is because this is a sample account, doesn't have anybody. Anybody question? Oh, it's Kimberly.
Okay, thank you. I think something that we should like, we always were used to recognition every week or every day. It's like, how many smart chips did we get this week, with the team? Instead of
Right.
just how many people have we enrolled, but like both of them.
Yes. Yeah, because let's suppose that you have for this week that is closing on Monday, you have 10 people that are in the smart chip, and the smart chip, everybody's different. We think that it's 60 points, but you're going to see when you look at the smart chip, you have a plethora of different smart chips, 60 points, 100 points, 200 points, etc. And then you know that there are at least 10 coming this week. That means 600 points. And then but you want to increase that for 4 weeks from now. What you do, you sponsor people this week, and you can have your team do some kind of a promotion this week to sponsor more people. And let's suppose that they sponsor 10 people that are going to be in the smart chip. They sponsor this week. 4 weeks from now, you had 10 now. You're going to have 10 more. Now you have 20. That's the way that you strengthen the weeks when you see how much a smart chip is coming ahead. It's a strategy, but it's very simple. If you're starting out, you don't have too many people. You don't have to worry about that. You just are prospecting every week. But when you have a team already, probably probably no. A team that at least 20 or 30 people is good. That this part of the because you can strengthen weeks, make weeks stronger by having promotions, or you yourself said, okay, this week I'm going to prospect 100 people because this as a week is not very strong week. I want to put to sign on more people, not just because the PIB, but it's in 4 weeks. You are going to have more people in smart chip, and you can. And if you are by yourself, you can create it yourself. But the idea is to do it with your team because they can do the same thing and they are helping you with strength that leg. But you can help or that week, but you can do the same thing with your team. And they can do this exactly the same thing. And that's the way that you manage how to make strongest week. When you're starting out, again, it doesn't matter because you're just starting to build. And you say, oh, I have only one person on my downline. I know I need a smart chip every week. Well, just keep doing it every week. This is just if you have a team already. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right, perfect. If you don't have any questions, I want to make sure that everything's clear, especially in the basic. By the way, the thing that you have to know about the pay plan when you're talking to somebody, if you explain everything that we are just talking about, the reports, etc., you never ever say all that to a person because first of all, they are going to get confused. You go to the basic. Remember, I tell you, when you understand the numbers and what are the numbers here, bring two, help them to bring two, repeat the process. Just by doing that, the numbers start happening. The 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, the one that I show you, that's the process. You don't have to know the pay plan. That happened by itself. Because if you start getting into too many details, the person is going to be confused and they don't need those details to build, especially when they're starting out. As a matter of fact, even to know which weeks are stronger or not, at first, really, you don't have even to worry about that because you keep just working with people. Bring two, help them to bring two, help them to bring two until you have the machine working. And then later is when you start looking at the weeks. You cannot do it when you are new because it doesn't make sense if you have very few people in your organization. This is when you have already a larger organization and you know the weeks are weak. And when I mean a larger, I'm not talking thousands, but when you start getting into 40, 50, 60, 100 people that you have that already smart ship, then that's when you start looking better at the week. But right now, especially some of you, if you're new, you don't have to worry about that at all. And that's why we don't explain that when somebody joins, because you don't need to know it. That's just strategy to make stronger the weeks. But to build the business, very simple. Bring two, have them to bring two, repeat the process. And you get the cycles, that's 600, 300, or you get the matching bonus. That means when somebody cycles in your team, you're getting a matching bonus. That's simple. That's the most that we have to explain. And of course, a person say, well, what about retail? Well, you sell retail for 25% next day, pay next day. Simple as that. And somebody, when they come with packages, you get a commission between $25 or more, actually, every time that is paid weekly. But you see, if as soon as we get into too many details, then we confuse people. And now it's interesting because there are people that are making a lot of money in the business and they don't understand the pay plan. And the company I was before, there was a woman that she was making probably like $400,000 a year, probably more like 800,000 a year because she was close to the $1 million. She lived in Pennsylvania. And she never explained the pay plan in the other company. And that was the first time that was in a binary. And she never explained it. And they have only the cycle, they didn't have even the matching bonus. And the reason is because she said, I'm terrible with numbers. But when people say, well, how the pay plan works, very simple. Bring two, help them to bring two, repeat the process. Bring two, help them to bring two, repeat the process. And then this woman was making probably, let's see, probably around 800,000 a year. Single mother, 3 kids, used to work in an insurance company, and she was above me, by the way. I happened to be in one of the legs, but she never explained the pay plan. Now, she didn't sponsor me. I just happened to go under her. We were in a dinner in a restaurant. I have to tell the story because this is really cool. And her sister was making a lot of money already. And we went to a restaurant, and then she said, and I said, oh, okay, let's tomorrow. I found about breakfast plate that's amazing, etc. And she said, oh, I can't be tomorrow. I had to leave tonight because I had to work tomorrow. And I said, really? Because I was surprised. She's about me. And say, work tomorrow? Oh yeah, I had to go back to my. She worked in an insurance agency as a secretary. And then I said, well, how much are you making? And I said, well, about $4,000 a month. And I said, okay, yeah, but the benefits are amazing, etc. And she had $3, and she wanted to make sure the benefits. And I said, but you make more money than that. Oh yeah, but the benefits. And the sister say, ask her what kind of car you drive. I say, well, what car you drive? Oh, like a Toyota. Ask her how many miles, like almost 200,000 miles. Now, the Toyotas are a great car, but almost 200,000 miles. And I said, well, do you know how much money you are making? And this is when people are, I would say, brainwashed into you need a job. She was making already a lot of money. And she said, oh yeah, I know I'm making a lot of money, but all that I left it to the accountant my dad recommend to me. And the accountant, everything sent there, and he deposited and invested in accounts, etc., etc. But you know exactly how much you're making. He said, well, let me see. And the sister said she doesn't even know how to get into the back office. We didn't get to the office in the restaurant because we couldn't for a reason I don't remember. But then she called me like 2 days later. Oh, and I told her, and her sister said she's making at least 10,000 a week. Now, that's why I said she was making at least 800,000 at the time later, but not right there. That was about 500,000 a year. And I say, but how come you're working? I mean, it's $3,000, $4,000 a month as a secretary, and you're making 10 times that. Oh yeah, because security. I say, hold on a second. What do you mean security? Yeah, the benefits. I said, what are the benefits? Oh, I get the 401k and all the stuff. And they say, okay, what if you put a percent of the income into benefits yourself and you create your own benefit? You're making more on that. But she was so conditioned to having a job. Now, she knew the accountant was investing the money. It was accounting recommended by her dad, but she didn't know what was happening. She called me like 2 or 3 days later to tell me exactly what she was earning. And then she said, I call you because I'm thinking about what you told me about quitting and creating my own system. 2 weeks later, she had quit. She said, you have to be proud of me. I just bought a Cadillac Escalade for my family. And she was driving this Toyota. That's a great car, by the way. I don't say anything. It's just that she was driving, it was old, almost 200,000 miles. And then she said, and I have close to $1 million in accounts. I didn't know that because my account is in charge of all that. But she never explained the pay plan. When you talk to her how the business works, say, this is the way, bring two, help them to bring two. And that example that I show you, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128 to 56, that was the only thing that she talks about the pay plan. Never talk about cycles, never talk about anything. She was saying you have over 8,000 people and you can be making $30,000, $40,000 a month. That's the only thing. The details she didn't know. She was directing for the details her upline or me, that wasn't her downline. She needed the details. But most of the time people were impressed. You don't need to know how the pay plan works, but you have to know the numbers. And the numbers 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, etc. Grace Smith, that's her name. I probably gonna, she's a single mother of 3, and I probably, I'm gonna see if I can interview, she would be okay to interview her, because when you see her talking, she's a normal next door neighbor. That's it, totally next door neighbor. It's just that when she was forced into joining and she started, okay, I'm going to start sponsoring people. And she was telling about the products and telling and how to make money because she won an extra $500 a month. That I learned that later. She won an extra $500 a month, but because she was so consistent, people were coming under her. And one of the people that came was me under her. And she didn't sponsor me. I just happened to come like 80 people under people because somebody sponsored. Well, anyway, I'm not going to tell the whole story. But that's the cool thing about you never know what's going to happen under you. And there are so many examples. And her name is Grace. And then we have another woman that she lives in Houston. No, he's in Grapevine. That would be outside Dallas. And she has a very similar story. She was a hairstylist. She just started telling everybody because she wanted to make extra money. Because she was coming out of a bankruptcy. I don't remember the details why. The same thing. She was telling people about the business, how to make an extra $100 a month, an extra $200 a month, $300 a month. And suddenly she's a millionaire. And she lives in a gorgeous home in Grapevine. It's outside Dallas. I mean, come on. But it's consistency. You don't have to know the minors or the pay plan. Cindy hugely is another $1 million income earner, a friend of mine. She the same thing. I didn't know she was scared to talk in public because when I got into that company, she was already making money, and I asked her to tell her story, and she was nervous and going to the bathroom, etc. And she was at the time when I joined that company, she was like $6,000 a week. Eventually, she got over $20,000 a week. Consistently, persistency, believing that it's going to happen, but consistency is so important. And another Cindy from Washington, she's from, I don't remember, and I have to talk to her, by the way, because we're talking tax right now. The same thing, 8 kids. And she was saying you had to build on the side. And I'm talking, the reason I'm telling all stories, because these are people that even today, they still are making multi-6-figure or 7-figure a year in products, income, and they don't in products, in commissions. And these are not people that they were experts in network marketing or anything like that. They saw the Cindy from Washington. She has 8 kids. She was homeschooling all of them. And she built the business, and eventually she retired her husband. And now the two of them are building the business. And we became very good friends. We play tag. I don't know if I can sponsor her here because still she's making huge money in the other company. But those are stories that are real stories. And they're coming from a pay plan that was similar in only one thing, the cycles. Didn't have the matching bonuses. It's what I was telling the CEO, the Cindy, the one it's from Washington. it was I was saying to her, I said, you know, if you had the matching bonus that I had here, your income would be more than twice. And this is a woman that had made probably over $10 million already. Come on. Why I'm telling those stories? Because the possibility. Now, I don't say that everybody's going to make $10 million or $1 million, but what I'm talking is about when you are consistency, what can happen in this business. And we have great products, and we have the products that are in the PDR that make it even more credible. And we have, and the stories I'm telling you are people just with the cycles. Here we have way more than that because that matching bonus, they don't have the next day retail or anything like that, the other part of the pay plan. But if they had the matching, it's like I say, the guy that was my upline in that company. He's the top money earner. He's the number one. And he's 98 years old. He started in the 70s after a bankruptcy. And you see Christine talking a lot about him too. And the reason is because the guy didn't have even a high school diploma. And since 2000, let's see, he joined that company in 2002. He had earned over $100 million. And he's 98 years old right now. And he still is building. Every time I talk to him, it's funny because he said something all the time, and he's been saying it for years. If I retire, I expire. He say, I want to stay alive, and he still do meetings. You go to his website, to Facebook, and always he's somewhere, Jimmy. And there are so many stories that come from network marketing. And the reason I'm using the one that was before, because they had cycles, but they didn't have matching bonus. That's an incredible add-on. And talking to Jimmy like 2 years ago, when I was showing our pay plan, he was saying, because he's probably around 200,000 a month or something like that, and about $50,000-$60,000 a week. And then I was showing our pay plan, the matching bonus, and he said, that means if we have that matching bonus, I would be making about 300,000 or 400,000 a week, over $1 million a month. I said, yeah, you would. Interesting. Well, if I was younger, I probably would do it. Because when I talked to him about that, he was 95, 96. But right now, I'm too comfortable. Plus, his son has been a great person investing his money. His son used to be he was owner of one company that was doing the accounting for many of the executives in IBM. Of course, he now is doing his father, plus he's also involved in that business now. But anyway, I just wanted to tell the big potential because it's huge. Now, for many people, it could be something as simple as one of the women that she is in Montana. She's a friend of mine. She just wanted to write a book, but she didn't have the time to focus on that. But when she started earning like 3,000 or 4,000 a month, she said, that's like a full-time job. And she started writing books. And now she's a bestseller. I'm not going to use her name because the story is very deep. I had to ask for permission because the way that I met her. It's a very interesting story. It's very dramatic for her, what happened to her. But that's an example. And now, like I said, she has 2 books that have been bestsellers now. That was her goal, not to make money in network marketing, just to become a bestseller writer. Or, gosh, I so many stories. Oh, Helen Bradley, her actress, No Jobs, was working as a waitress, the same her husband. And now they live in a mansion in Universal City. And this is the interesting thing. When she started making money in network marketing, suddenly she said, now that we are making money, we have a lot of offers for different things. As a matter of fact, her daughter is the voice of Elsa in Frozen. And those jobs come to them. It's funny, when you are successful, people come to you. And that's what she said, Helen said, that's funny. When we were broke, nobody approached us. Now that we make money because they live in this beautiful city, home, etc. Now people, oh, by the way, we have this running. But when they were waiting tables, living in a small apartment, nobody approached them. It sounds unfair, but you think about when you are the more you surround with people, successful people, the more opportunities that you're going to have around. Possibilities happen. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to do that. But what I mean when you, and we always heard that, you are, but what the, you are basically what your five closest person are. If you are surrounding just with broke people and negative people, it's hard for us to get out. That's why the cool thing about this community and three, because we are people that have goals and many of them already making money, and that's a very optimist, positive community. And that's the way that things go up. It's why one of the things, and I was talking to Kimberly and other people in the past, that the more successful you are, the more opportunities happen to you in everything. Upgrades, and you go to a hotel and they give you a free upgrade. Come on, they give you free food. I have so many examples. I go to a hotel and they say, oh, by the way, we have a free upgrade to a suite, and suddenly I have a 3,000 square feet suite with a massage room and everything in one of the top hotels in Las Vegas. I said, why they're giving me free stuff? Not that I complain. Or going to a hotel in Napa Valley. We're going to Napa Valley. I was driving at the time. I have a GLS Mercedes, and I stop and the valet, etc. And then the guy in the valet, oh, by the way, you don't have to drive your Mercedes here. Ask the person for a complimentary car. And they gave us an SLS, a convertible car to use. And I say, how much I had to pay? He said, well, you use it for 3 hours a day, and you had to bring a certain hour. But because they were not busy, guess what? I have the whole day. The only thing that we had to put is gas. And they were not charging me extra. And I said, what? It's when you start being successful. And sometimes it's a mindset, the way that you talk, the way that the posture. And I noticed that when I started building network marketing, I was not making money yet. I think my biggest check was probably at the time $1,000 in a month. And then I went to a meeting that I was living at the time in Florida. I went to a meeting in an office, and I went there and parked in my car, etc. My friend, my downline, was waiting for me there. And then the guy said, oh, I started doing the presentation. He said, gosh, you had to be very successful. I said, what do you mean? Yeah, I saw you coming out of your car, the way that you walked. You probably are doing very well in this business. And I didn't have a supercar. I have a Nissan. But it's the way that probably I present myself. And I was not in a suit or anything like that. I was not in something cheap either, because I was not in a suit. I mean, it was Florida, probably summertime. I was not going to go and sweating like crazy. And I was surprised when he said that. And then we were in meetings, in home meetings. One of my friends, Mickey Badillo, still remember, he came and said, whoa, some of the people think that you're a millionaire. Oh, I've been doing this only like 7 months. I'm not even close to be even 100,000 a year person yet. And it's because the way that you present yourself. I'm not talking about having very expensive watches, because I didn't have any at the time. I have now expensive watch, but I didn't have at the time. It's just the way that you present yourself. It's your posture, your attitude. And I had to give credit to my dad. He used to tell me that it's the way that you present yourself, your posture is so important on anything. It's important in your school, important when you're in college, especially in college. It's when I started not in the different high school. I was an idiot. I didn't think about that. My brain was in another planet. But in college is when I started noticing little things. And when I went to interview with the director of IBM for South America, right away he said, yeah, you had good grades and you're well recommended, and I like your attitude. You're not going to start from the bottom. And was because it's something that I'm glad I learned from my dad. The attitude is so important. I started listening to personal development stuff when I hate them. What do you mean? Well, you probably are saying, my dad on purpose had audio cassettes at very high volume on personal development for all my brothers and I to listen to them. And in the morning, we were so upset with my dad, put some music. But guess what? Unconsciously, that was getting into our head. Because all the way through to middle school and high school, I hated. I went to my dad. He was doing a presentation, and he was an incredible speaker. He was traveling around the country. I was on vacation. He said, do you want to come with me? And And I say no. And he said, okay, let's go. I said, no, I say no. Well, and he said, well, we are going to have fun. You're going to see new foods, new restaurants, etc. I said, well, I was curious, but I didn't want to go to the meetings that he was doing. And I was basically forced to one of them. And I was in the back, like typical teenager, sitting there and looking around. He said, oh, that girl is very hot. That's what I was thinking in my head. And then the speaker come up and it's everybody standing up and I'm talking, applauding. And I said, wow, that's my dad. I didn't realize that he was good. Of course, when after the meeting, people say, whoa, you have to be proud of your dad. He's an amazing speaker. And of course, as a teenager, you're not going to say that. But inside myself, I was thinking, whoa, he really is good. But inside myself, what do you think? Okay, where are we going to eat? That's typical. I was the typical teenager. I was a pain in the butt, I have to say. I can tell ton stories. But anyway, sorry I went beyond that. I don't know how we got so much into my teenager times. But the point is that depending how we surround the kind of people that we surrounded with, and our posture is so important. It's the way that we feel about ourselves, the way when we talk the talk that we give to ourselves. And people notice when you are depressed and when you are in a negative, because in some way people are repelled. But when you are very positive, etc., people get attracted to you, want to talk to you. But when you are in a state that's low, and nobody wants even to be around us. And that's one of the very important thing to keep in mind. Basic numbers is what we have to know and make sure we have the posture. Because if we doubt ourselves, people can see that. And it's like energy. Even if they don't notice what they say, there's something I don't like about this person, or the opposite. Oh, there's something I love about this person that they don't know what it is. And you want to be that kind of person. But anyway, thank you very much. I better go because I'm spending too much time talking about me now. Unless you have a question. Okay.
I just love your passion, George. And even if we're not quite the millionaires that we are going to become and that we're in the process of becoming, at least we have all these stories to remember, a mom homeschooling her 8 children and all of that, or all these other people, the quiet one who is just a secretary doing 2 by 2. I mean,
Yeah, that's
all of
great.
these stories are so awesome. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you, thank you. The
yeah. And
belief,
Grace,
you
even
feed us
today, with all the money
belief.
it's making, she's still the same shy person, Grace. She's funny when she get to know you, but she is not one of those person that's going to be on the stage. I think the only time that she's been on stage is when they are giving a reward to her. As a matter of fact, one of the people that he's in three is just that he's one of the million income earners from the other company. Um, he Nobody knows him in that other company because he's very laid back. He doesn't like to talk, but he loves to talk about potential. I love to be around him because he's always talking about potential, 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 and he had done it himself. That he is a millionaire income earner, and not only in network marketing in the company I was before, and here is building a good downline. Even that nobody knows who he is, and you're probably never going to know who he is, but you're going to know his team. And there are people like Nicole Baron that are under him, like Christine, Caroline Small, etc. But you're never going to hear about him. But he's millionaire in other businesses because his attitude. You talk to him, and the guy is a nice guy. He's a funny, nice guy, very positive, but doesn't like to be up front talking to people in front. You're never going to see him on a stage. But anyway, and again, there are different personalities. There are people that are very outspoken and they love to be in front of the crowd. They want to have all kind of colors on themselves and jump up and down when they are doing presentations. And they are the quiets that you're never going to hear from them. It's like when you look at every year, Forbes magazine publishes the richest people in the world. The great majority of them, we don't know who they are. And they are talking about billionaires. We know a few. As a matter of fact, there are some billionaires that we heard, but it's because they are very flamboyant or because they are the top 3 or 4, but very flamboyant. But there are many people richer than them, but you don't see or you don't even know who they are. is why the cool thing about when you are goal oriented, you want to be positive, you want to help other people, you can be successful. It's not depend on your kind of personality, because there are a few kinds of personalities, and Christine has done trainings on that. It's just what we do ourselves. One of my top leaders in the company, I'm not going to use his name because I sometimes kind of sound rude what I said. I have seen rocks that have more personality. I know, sounds weird. The guy used to work for the oil industry, and he was an accountant, and he was laid off, and he got in network marketing. Before he was laid off, he was making probably like $2,000 a month when he was laid off. And then he said, well, they give me a package that I probably can live for another 6 months to maybe even a year, but I want to make this work. Now, the guy's super analytical, being an accountant. He rarely smiles, but he looks serious when he's doing something. And today he's a multi-million-dollar income earner. We're good friends. He lives in Pennsylvania, not too far away from the Jimmy Smith, by the way. He lives also in a beautiful home. It's not the same subdivision, but it's in the same area. And his personality, I used to joke, I have rocks that have better personality, but he's consistent, persistency. And that's why he is multimillionaire. Again, doesn't matter the personality. You can be bubbly or you can be quiet, as long as you're consistent and you believe that it's going to happen. And you're surrounded by the right people. And that's what we do in this call, the morning calls, and when you go to events, etc. That's why it's cool to go to events, especially when you're brand new, because then you start surrounding for people. Because sometimes people that are brand new say, well, I don't have any much success. Why do I have to go? Because you need them. Maybe you need to surround with that kind of people. And it's when you see, and you look for them, by the way, look for the people that are successful and just take a picture with them. And it's so important to understand that's so important. I mean, the people that you're surrounding with, and by the way, could be in a Zoom. That's the cool thing about technology today, that we can reach and connect with more people than we could before. Doesn't matter how far we live, even if you live in a small town in the middle of Alaska, where right now there are no nights, and then in the winters, all nights, you still can build a business and surround with the right people by connecting. Doesn't matter where you live. But anyway, I better go because, again, we are going beyond that. And that's, by the way, one of the things that I like about doing on Saturday. We can be more flexible with the time because majority of people are not running to your job. And that's why I love to be open for questions, etc. But anyway, thank you very much, everybody. And we see you on the Monday call. I see you. Bye.
Gracias, George. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. Ciao, ciao.
Because I know it's very hot right now in Houston, huh?
Yes, sir. About 100. We're going to have 100 degrees all week. It's going to get really hot.
Yeah,
Toda la
right now,
semana.
I'm in Australia because the air condition is like 65 right now.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be as hot as Las Vegas when we get there. It's gonna be 115 in Vegas, so it's gonna be hot.
Right now, because I have a challenge with a couple of people, I ain't gonna go out. We are gonna go to the mountains, and it's 100 degrees exactly right now.
I know.
The mountains, I'm sure, is gonna be cooler, but we are gonna be working from here.
Everywhere, yeah. Okay. Como quiera,
Okay,
have a
see
good
you
day.
later.
Ahí estamos. Chao, chao.